So we have Miss Hiru Bojwani with us. She's now an accomplished school library consultant and a co-founder of Life Reading Association with over 25 years of experience at the American School of Bombay, now transforming school libraries across international, national, and IB settings. Her work focuses on empowering schools to reimagine libraries as living ecosystems where literacy, inquiry, and innovation coverage. Hero partners with educators to integrate metacognition and student agency into everyday learning and providing agency, voice, and choice in children's literature, as showcased in a contribution to the National Gerald Award and Rhythm Book. Thank you, Hiro, for being with us, and I'm really, really looking forward to learning all about literacy, with you. And I just want to hand over the space to you. Hiro, you are on mute. Okay. 1 second, Hiro. Just let me just hold on. I can just 1 second. Give me a moment. Okay. Now, is it okay with you, Hiro? Yeah, I think you should be good to go.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much, Tanu,
just
for
yes, just
go
just
ahead,
for
go
a
ahead.
moment. Yeah. For all the participants, I request you to stay till the last. We will be sharing an attendance form at the end. Only after filling that form, you will be able to get your certificate. So please with me. Yeah. Thank you. And Hiro, here we go.
Thank you. Thank you, Tanu, and truly an honor to be a part of this entire virtual conference, The Learning Edge 2.0. Really grateful for this opportunity. 1 hour, and there's so little to say and so much to learn. So I'm going to go at super fast speed, but I still want to give an opportunity for everyone to ask questions. So if someone's around 5 or 7 minutes before it's time to close, I'd like to take some questions and pause wherever I am. So all of you have come because all of you are really believe that literacy is a very important part of the child's education system. So this is the agenda. And very quickly, what does literacy really mean to you? You can unmute your microphone or you can put it on a chat, whatever you're comfortable with. But I do need an answer.
Everybody to put on in your chat. I will help, Hiro to,
Yes,
yes.
Thanks. Yes.
Yeah.
You could unmute if that's easier and faster to speak.
No, that, we have to change the settings. So that's what,
Okay.
yeah. So what does literacy mean to you? I'm waiting for people to, somebody say it's getting knowledge.
Okay.
So waiting for others to type in. If I have to say, I would say something which will help me to express myself. Literacy is something which I'm able to express my thoughts myself.
So it's knowledge, it's expressing oneself. All of it is correct.
Somebody says, Miss Serish, able to read and write, understand what you read, to know yourself, to communicate, to know ourselves and others, and then means knowledge and communication. Literacy is a base of learning journey. Anything you're learning, it's a base of it. To recognize information, to understand the things around you in a meaningful way, to listen carefully.
Perfect, fabulous. So I'm going to put that all under one bracket and call it meta literacy, because all that you have spoken about, knowledge, information, communication, information, all of that comes under meta literacy. Today, we are going to talk about language literacy. So, like someone said, able to read and write. This is what we think. Generally, it's about grammar, it's about reading proficiency, and able to use appropriate vocabulary to express oneself. Moving forward in the 21st century, skills is really about our focus needs to move from grammar reading proficiency to thinking critically and expressing authentically and act purposefully. This is what literacy is the real meaning in the 21st century. Grammar is taken care of by Grammarly and 100 other tools, but to be able to think critically and express oneself is a very important part of literacy. It's not a skill, but this is the pathway pathway to student agency. If you have read the new PYP, we are talking of student agency. So grammar reading, all of that is other skill sets. Yes, you need to know all of that, but that will automatically be learned if we begin to focus more on the right hand side, that is thinking critically and expressing authentically. So very quickly again, share one word that comes to your mind when you hear the word student agency in the context of literacy. And here I'm talking about language literacy because we're talking about language rather than the meta literacy.
Voice choice ownership.
Voice choice, my favorite word. We know these
Yes.
words.
Yes. Gaining knowledge through reading, is somebody saying? Voice and choice. I think everybody is like voice and choice.
Yes. So we want to give the choice to the child to read what he or she wants to read. We want them to find different ways of expression. But do we really provide that in our classroom? A very Tyrone Bond, she said, agency. Can somebody help me read that? Tanu, can you help me read that, please?
Yes, I can do. Agency is not something that is given to children. It is something they already have. Something that we as educators need to do a better job of respecting and supporting.
I wholly believe that they have the agency, we just don't give them the choice and the opportunity to do it and support them. So when we talk about agency, I'm referring to all of these three language IB documents, the tenets, the continuum, and the learning and teaching. Keeping these documents in mind, there is a traditional view, which is decoding. How does the child in the pre-K, the kindergarten decode language, words? We prescribed essays, comprehension questions, and passive consumption of knowledge. When we begin to think about agency, this is what we need to think about. Active construction of knowledge, purposeful action. What will I do with the knowledge that I gain? And how am I going to express myself? And how am I going to think to ensure that this works? So we may need to move from the traditional to the agency point of view. For example, comprehension question. This is just an example. What did the dog do next? That's prediction. But we need to change that to say students will design a poster or a campaign based on the books that they have read about kindness, conservation, courage, and anything that they can share. It must have a purposeful action. It just can't be that present everything to the teacher, present everything to each other. We must provide a larger audience. So the focus is more on getting the entire process done well than putting check marks in the checkbox and says we need to get this done, this done, this done, this done. So do a few things. It's not a number game, but actively engage them in a purposeful action. Passive consumption. So traditional method is we read silently, summarize the story, but actively what we need to do is co-create a new ending, dramatize, and a visual map characterize character decision and consequences that lead to active discussion. When the active discussion happens, that's where the critical thinking is happening. So the agency again needs to move from decoding, but thinking differently of what would you have done differently. Think about the author's values and why did the authors create the work that he or she did, and actually have the children create podcasts, comic strips, and a variety of ways to express themselves. And authentic is most important. We get the children to write, but we don't know what to do with that later. So that is why we need to recognize the agency. You can't hear me?
No, we can hear you.
Okay. Okay. And then we designed learning engagement. And finally, we cannot as teachers do it alone. Leverage collaboration, leverage your librarians, leverage your tech teachers. And that's why I said And even the new PYP again focuses heavily on collaboration. Reach out to the librarians and the tech coordinators to support you in all of the ways of expression and co-creation. And finally, implement practical strategies that link reading and inquiry together. So the core pillars, like you all said, is voice, choice, and ownership. And that's fantastic. You know, all of this is so important. So we need to collaborate. Get the librarians. If they don't know how to create a podcast, they will figure out. Tell them we need to create a podcast. She will learn, he will learn. They figure out. By the time you're ready at the end of the unit, they are there to support you. The more you request and you collaborate with the key other stakeholders in your community, you are able to really provide voice and choice. If you do not do that, it's really, really not going to work. And there's too much pressure on each one of you. We all know this. One size does not fit all. One shoe does not fit all. That's the biggest problem. People have been talking about this since years. So we need to change that for the benefit of our children, especially now with the way the technology is changing the lives and the thinking of every child. Podcast, advocacy are extremely important ways to provide opportunities for children to express themselves. Even if it's in grade two, you can have this green screen, have a podcast, and have that being replayed on your TV screens for the parents when they walk into your schools. And even podcasts, it's not really easy to do a podcast. The children will need to learn how to write a script. Get your librarians, get your tech coordinators, and your art teachers, all of that to help you build and provide this choice board to the children. And you can even grade it together. So I'm just going to give you an example of something that I have done. Sharing the planet, voice and choice. So it's a lot of I think I'm going to share this presentation with you because I know we have less time as well. So you can go through all of this. So in the agency and choice, you provide an opportunity for the child to write an article, get it printed in the newspaper, create a magazine in-house if you have to, create a picture book, create a documentary clip. All of these are important to provide a choice to the child. And now with ChatGPT, you can put these questions onto your ChatGPT and it'll give you the options that you don't have to worry thinking about. You just have to find a way for the children to do it. Get more teachers involved, get your teaching assistants involved, and they can do all of that. So these are the different agencies: cafeteria, community neighborhood, education, rap songs. Why don't we include more rap songs for our children? Teach younger children. They can record this and provide evidences for you in your assessments. Assessments, I'm not going to say, we all know that needs to change as well. But let's provide a choice to the child. How do you include all of these ATL skills? In thinking skills, we keep using these words: critical thinking, thinking. What does it really mean? So I've broken these down, and the IB in the new document has broken these down into clear definitions. So observation is evaluating. So consider the meaning of evaluation through observation. Organize information. Imagine thinking skills is defined in so many different ways. And all of that is in the new IB document. So if you go to the IB portal, all of you have access to it, and you can download these, and they're all available for you to do. Because we keep using these words, critical thinking, but what does that really mean? It's analyzing and evaluating issues. So when you are writing your report cards, you can say, through the critical thinking, the student was able to analyze and evaluate issues of the environment or whatever. Again, creative thinking. It's not only about art. It's about generating new ideas, finding new applications to implement the new idea, new thought process. What if? That's a very simple way of looking at a creative idea, creative thinking. So again, these are two common words that I've taken, and IB has further broken each one of them down into details. But this is just the two common ones that we keep talking about and so badly reflects in the way we do things. Before I go on any further, I'm going to take a minute to pause because I've just pushed so much of information down to you. If there's any question, I'm happy to pause for like 2, 3 minutes to take the next question.
Okay, so if anybody has a question, you can raise your hand and I will give you the permission to unmute. So if is there anybody who wants to ask a question? Hero has given so much about skills and so much about voice choice and strategies and literacy. So is there anybody who has any question? You can just raise your hand. I will unmute you so that you can ask the question. Or if anybody wants to put it in the chat box also, we are like fine with it. Otherwise, you could just something which you want to share or ask her. Okay, how to cultivate agency, recognize, shifting.
I'm just playing around in case some question comes up.
Yes. Like right now, currently not, but then I just, out of curiosity, I would like to know that something is like when I say this agency view and when you say this holistic view, uh, in the PYP version, what I want to understand is you mean we are changing those comprehension examples you gave, you're moving towards active construction and things like that. So you're trying to say that we need to move away from those question answer pattern and move. Are you telling that we have to move
Yes,
towards the bigger picture of action and taking into the real term? So, is it what you're trying to say?
yes, yes, you're absolutely right. So, like I said, that a question answer. So instead of saying what did the dog do next or what is it, how about we create a deeper understanding of the story through either a campaign or depends whatever the task is. So if you're looking at a text, like grade 1 and 2, we are still at grade 1, we are still decoding the words. The kids will eventually decode the words, be able to understand. But what do you get out of that information of the story is what we need to work on. A prescribed essay, write an essay on how can we save the environment. Instead of saying that, say, you know so much about the environment now. How would you like to convey that information to the outside world? So do you want to create a poster instead of writing a random essay, which every child, even a primary school students are putting it into ChatGPT, have them authentically express it. Do you want to write an article about it? Do you want to go on a campaign, make posters and spread the word around? Go talk to your neighborhood, 5 or 10 people, record their conversations and bring it. So you know that there is a shift in the literacy. There is critical thinking, there is authentic expression and purposeful action because they are going to learn about the environment, whatever the plastic or whatever. Anyways, they are listening and they're learning and they're reading. But having a prescribed essay may not be the only answer to knowing that there is a shift in the thinking.
Right. So when I say shift in the thinking, if we create those purposeful opportunity for them to apply and become more literate, as you said, literate and expression, then probably we are giving them that that
The
shift is trying to
agency
agency and that shift you're trying to say. Wonderful.
and the voice and the choice and the purposeful action because the decoding and the essay writing is going to happen anyways. And if they
Yeah.
don't have those skills, they're recording it and ChatGPT is doing it for you anyways.
Very true in this one. All right. That's
And it's
interesting.
happening everywhere, even if at the primary school level. It's sad, but it's happening. So let's give them an opportunity to express themselves. Help them write an article. I'm not saying no, but help them to write it in a way that they are going to express it in an authentic way.
Yeah.
The other thing I would like to also talk about is the passion projects. We all do this. You have the inquiry, but if you want to do a passion project at the end of a unit or something, this is what I've done in the past, and I'm just sharing it with you, where I spent 6 weeks with the children, choosing a interest, a project that they are interested in. It could be music and dance. They learn about it. It could be economics. And this can be done from all the way from grade 1 to grade 10. I've done them the whole range. You can talk of Bitcoins if a child is interested in Bitcoin, art and craft, crochet, music, wrestling. These are all examples that they have done. Somebody's interested in medicine. So they take a question, and that's a passion project. And then they explain it, they find out more about it, basically go through the entire inquiry cycle, and they share it in a form of a TED talk or any which way they want to express it in. By doing the passion project, their interest is so, they're so invested in this passion project because it is something that they are interested in. Because they're interested in, they're learning all the ATL skills 100% authentically, and they're finally presenting in a way, and they choose the way they want to present. They want to write a book, podcast, they want to write a paper, any which way they want to express their project is done through this passion project. They need the voice and the choice of picking a project that they're interested in, even if it's wrestling and anime. And then you become the facilitator for them because they set target goals throughout the 6 weeks project, what they want to do, how they want to do, and where do they want to get at by the end of 6 weeks. So there's an entire template that I create, and this is what they do through this passion project. And through this passion project, all of the ATL skills, ethical research, all of that goes through with this passion project. And I believe there is a recent literature that has said that if children are driven by interest, the degree of information, knowledge grows exponentially. So the more opportunities we get them to tap into the interest of the child, the more learning will happen for them. I'm going to move on to another example. Since we are also talking about literature, recently at a workshop, what I did was I collected 5 of these 6 books. We talk of student agency, but we are often doing the read alouds ourselves as teachers. And then we are asking these questions of the children, either through visible thinking routines or anything related to higher order thinking. What I did differently this time, since we are talking of students' voice and choice and collaboration and all of that, I experimented with forming 5 groups in the classroom or 3 groups, gave each group a picture book. And each group read one of these books, The Boy Who Asked Why. And the group B read A is for activist. The group 3 read the YY Girl. Group 4 read Nasreen's Secret School. What I did was I gave them time to read the book. It took the whole period. Along with the book, the group, each one got a bookmark that looked like this. I'll share it with you guys. So it was a central idea, the key concept, the perspective, connection, and this is what I was going to focus on, the first. Then behind the bookmark, I had these questions from them, which they discussed in a group and gave back, would then share out to the larger group or share between two different groups. So what is the problem of the injustice is the heart of the story. So all of these books, if you saw the titles, The Boy Who Asked Why, A is for the activist, all of them had a problem. And what was the injustice in the heart of the story that they had to express? What symbols and images or actions show that change took place? Connecting to self. When have you seen or experienced something similar? How might the story look different from another person's point of view? That was what I did, was connecting to self and world. You as a teacher, I as a teacher would generally have done this The teacher being the sage on the stage would then address the entire students as an audience and have this discussion. But if I put them in groups, I found that the engagement was deeper. These conversations continued after class because this activity did not get over in one class. It took 2 sessions, but the conversation continued because each of their friends were reading 4 different books. And when they came back to the class the next time, they completed all of this and shared their understanding with another group. So this is the way I try to provide choice, their voice, and a deeper understanding of all of these concepts that they were talking about, which would otherwise be a one-way street between me and the students. And finally, what message from this story should others hear? So they had to think critically to analyze what action they wanted to take and what small action could we take at school or at home to create the change. And it could be as simple as being kinder to the next person who comes to my doorstep to ask me for help. So this is how I created agency, inquiry, and action through literacy and simple literacy picture books. Once again, collaboration is the key. Become friends with your tech guys and your librarians. They will help you immensely. The more you reach out to them, the more they will be able to support your children and their learning. Again, reach out to them wherever, whichever state you are joining in from. Every state, every city has a Times of India NIE. Partner with the local school and they will help you publish your students' work. So this is something that I have done, which I'm sharing with you. So I've got my children's articles published because it is their view, their ideas, and what they wanted to talk about. This one wanted to talk of mental health issues, so she got her to write. This was the first EAL child who was very, very shy and very afraid to write. And he wrote about how to manage teenage life towards a cleaner environment, so on and so forth. So partner with your librarians and your technology guys. They will help you move forward. There's another website called Read Bloom Books. It's it's been active since the last 5 or 6 years, and they provide an opportunity for children to share their stories. What's interesting is about this Read Bloom Book organization is, I'm just going to share this. The stories are written by children. And guess who the jury members are? Who judges the stories are other children. So it's not adults running the show. The adults are the people who do the back end stuff. But this student jury reads all the stories written by children and they award the best story to them. In fact, if you're interested, please reach out to Tanu and Tanu can reach out to me. We are going to have a Lit Fest, which is going to be run by children. It's on 6th of December. Trishta is going to be the keynote speaker. She is the keynote speaker, moderator. All of them are children from grade 6 onwards to grade 11. So that's Read Bloom Books. They believe in voice, choice, and empowerment. Again, creating podcasts within the community. It's not easy to create a podcast. My kids created something called Eagles Cook Candid, and they had to write scripts, they had to do voice recording, and they had to do editing. One podcast took almost 3 weeks to create. And they did this at their own time with zero pressure. Like, take your time. And so they had homework, they had schoolwork, they had after school activities. In spite of them, they and I created podcasts both from the elementary, middle, and high school. And it's tough, it's hard work, the podcast, but the kids do it all. Then, as usual, everyone has a newspaper. Encourage children to write content for them, descriptive writing, persuasive. In design, they need to learn about color, medium, and also the font size. We forget our parents. IB talks about parent community. So have a purposeful parent community, a board of writers, invite other stakeholders to have sessions with them, just like you do with your children. I created a parent community with the children and with the teachers, and we created several books each year. They were multilingual poetry book. The last one I did was painted words, and this image was generated with AI. ASB Musings was done by children. This is by a fifth grade child. And ASB Musings, a third one, was an artwork done by a second or third grader who took almost 8 months to do this cover. So again, all choice, all voice, and honoring all languages and cultures. And with that, some practical suggestions. You all know this. Written paper, infographic. Ask the children how they want to express themselves. They will tell you. I'm just going to advertise on the 19th and 20th of December. We are going to have a librarian conference with technology at the Shivnadar School in Delhi. If you're interested, please check out the website. For more details, you will get that there. I'm open to questions now. Whoa, I've never done this so fast and so quickly.
No, I am completely like awestruck with the amount of, agency when you say, so much power in the students and, taking ownership and roles. So that's wonderful. And I love that read bloom. And it's so powerful. It's so democratic in its way, by the two students, for the students, and, you know, to the student. That's wonderful. Anybody has any question or anything you want to share or ask? I'm sorry. Or, um, to talk about, if do you have any question for Hero to be shared, or if you have anything you want to know how to take this back or implement this in the classroom?
Yes, I'm happy to take all kinds of
Kinds
questions.
of questions.
Yes,
Yes.
that's why I ran through it because I know there will be a lot of questions.
Even I assume so, but then I do not see anybody raising their hands so far. Okay.
Let's give it time.
Yeah. To the time people are asking, I just want to understand, Hiro, when you design so many things, how do you really bring about, time is a crunch for most of the educators, during the time. And then you have also, talking about librarians collaboration. Many a times it's quite a challenge within, the school timetable and things. Maithili is raising the hand. Maithili, once again, let me finish. And then, okay, Maithili is raising the hand. Maithili, I'll give you
No, I will
the
take your answer for question first because Tanu, that's really important. Um, I don't know in many schools. I know in India, many schools have fixed timetables for technology and
Ah,
library because they want to provide that extra time for the teachers to plan. I'm just going to give you the transition. So in the library, there are always two people to begin with. Always two people. You have an assistant and you have a librarian. The assistant can always do one lesson while the librarian attends the meeting, the PYP meeting for grades kindergarten to 12. I know IB expects at least the specialist and the librarian to meet with the team at least twice, once at the beginning of the unit and once at the end of the unit for reflection. That can easily be done if the assistant takes care of the class. But it's a transition you might want to plan for years ahead, where the librarian, I'm talking about myself, how we did it first. The librarian had a fixed role. Once a week, everybody came to my class. Then we did it by invitation. So the librarian was called is called a collaborator, and you sign up with the librarian. You make appointments with the librarian, and she takes your class, or you take her class, and you co-teach. So she has to be freed from this fixed schedule. It has to become a flexible schedule. Technology is a flexible schedule. Nobody teaches technology anymore. It has to be integrated into this.
Okay, we have one question here. 1 minute. By Maitri, I'll just come back to you. What is the main role of librarian? Does it start from librarian side or the main teacher? I mean, when we start the collaboration, yeah.
Uh, I'm going to say because I know how the mindset of the schools are. So it must come from the coordinator because the coordinator has the power to make that change happen. If
Okay.
the coordinator just tells a librarian, I need you at the meeting, no matter what, that is going to happen. So the librarian may tell the coordinator, I want to be in the meeting, but the coordinator is not able to see the larger picture at that point of time. Say, no, you have to take the class because I need to meet with the PYP teachers. That mind shift must happen at the top level. Unless the
Mhm.
coordinator and the principals are not invested in that idea, change is very difficult. Because let's be very honest and frank, all teachers, all coordinate, all all librarians, technology, all one work under the head.
Yes,
If
true.
so, and whatever the coordinator says, yes, ma'am, I will do that. But if the librarian comes up to you as a coordinator and says, I want to the meeting, she's going to tell them, listen, I want you, yes, PYP says that, but right now I want you to be in the class with these kids. So the mind shift must come from the top. However,
All
I know
right.
many librarians who say they want to be a part of this, but they cannot because there's no agency there.
Mhm. All right.
So we talk about agency, we talk about choice, but we don't provide it to our staff members.
Yeah, agency has to begin with teachers. And yes, I mean, I always believe more the agency, more the systemic thinking and more the structures. Because until and
Exactly.
unless you do not have those systemic thinking and structures and policies in place, then the mind shift and
That,
it has to balance basically what I'm trying to
correct.
say.
So what we also did is one of the transitions we did was the technology and the librarian. We had one period. So they shared, the tech and the librarian shared one period. So either they do a tech class or a library class. It was co-related and co-taught. So then we were not having one library class and one technology class. We talk about library media center, but we're giving no power and no agency to the library and the technology guys to work together. How is the change going to happen? How is
Yeah,
the collaboration going to
vision going
happen?
to happen. Yeah, I mean, and sometimes even, we have to not talk about, equity is also something we have to understand in terms of resources and availability and things like that. But yes, this Maitli, you wanted to ask something.
And then librarians and technology can be called the bookable resource.
Yeah. Okay. There's another question. Maitli, I'm not able to see you here. Oh yeah, Maitli, you're here. One second. Okay, 1 minute. Sorry. Maitli, I have to give you the power to um
Unmute.
unmute. Yeah, I'm just searching where is Maitli gone.
Okay, I found it. I think it works.
Yeah, it works for
Yeah.
you too.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hi, Maithili.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. Hi, Thiru. Hello, Tanu. So I
Hi.
just wanted to tell you, like, when I was seeing all the choices and all, right? So I just wanted to let you know that the choices are a lot. I mean, you gave a lot of choices for the agency, to do it in our libraries or in our classrooms. So when I was just going through the presentation, so even I felt that I need some time to sink in as well, because these choices, how do it actually work in our current classroom? And so choices are a lot, but now I'm just thinking in that how I can navigate this into my classrooms and use it. So that's why I wanted to tell you that thank you for a lot of choices. So thanks you. And now I'm
Yes, and
you
not,
may
Yeah,
come back.
yes.
yeah, and not that all the children are going to take up all the choices and they will
Mm.
figure it out. Kids are smart. Stop underestimating them. They are so strong and powerful. They'll teach you. So if they've chosen an outcome and if they've chosen the way they want to express themselves, they will figure it out. You just have to give them the time. Get it
Mhm.
done within 1 week. They'll get it done no matter what. They'll get it done.
Okay,
Yeah.
here there is another question,
Yes.
is like, how about parent participation? How it does, I can't imagine how do they commit to this, the commitment from the parent angle towards the work which you have shared. How does that happen?
Everything happens online, except if you want to have them physical. So I'll give you a few options that I have done and tested, and that's what I do. So in the school newsletter or the whatever the letter goes out to the parents through the thing, I put out a notice saying that I'm having classes to teach parents how to build literacy through reading for primary school parents only for 6 weeks. And those classes will happen every Monday at 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. That's it. So just as I have a class with my students, I have a class with the parents. That's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it I did was information meta literacy, when parents have no clue about digital citizenship. Again, I ran a 6 week session for all parents interested in doing. So when the parents came to me, they said, no, it's too early in the morning. They want to have it. So then I made it at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, when they would come 1 hour before to pick, when they come to pick up the kids, they would come attend my session in the library, and off they went with the kids. So it was a 6 week session. Do your stuff. And what was planned for 6 weeks turned out to be almost a whole year, because they were asking for more and more and more when it came to technology, digital citizenship. I roped in the technology person because he had far more depth in that knowledge. I roped him in. Then for literacy, I roped in the high school teacher, because they high school language teacher who wanted to they wanted to learn how to craft an argumentative essay. The parents wanted to learn. So I roped in that lady to do that one session. And if it was clashed with her time, we just got a substitute to run her class while she ran the class for the parents. And it ran like that throughout the year, changing with different ideas. And some ideas came from the parents themselves. Like the book idea came from the parents. Let's have a writers club. I said, all right, let's have a writers club. We planned a writers club. We planned a writers retreat. So they came up with ideas and they made plans, and you become the teacher facilitator for the whole group. And if you have a writer in your community, which I did have later on, I figured it out. She became a part of an author visit who explained the craft of writing, how to publish stories. And and it was a small group of parents who were interested. It was not like I had 40 parents who came. I had only 30 parents who came and who attended this. And I think it's not about the numbers, it's about the depth and the curiosity and the learning that you can even provide for one child or one parent.
Interesting. I mean, how involved is the parent community? It's like of all the stakeholders work together, it makes the magic happens.
And you know what? And you don't, like I said, they don't have to be all 100 people coming, just 20 people come in and they do it. And you have different workshops or different things.
Yeah.
And that's how you build relationships with them.
There's another question. How do you take up passion projects for grade one? I think this is by a grade one teacher. How do you take a grade one?
So what we did is we talked about the different interests. I put them all on the board. We made mind maps, and then we narrowed it down to one choice. And he says, why do you want to learn? Like there was one child who wanted to learn how to do cross stitch because a grandmother learned cross stitch. So we got a cross stitch thing, and she did cross stitch and she learned how to do it, but now she had to teach it to somebody else. So she recorded it. We helped her record the different steps of doing cross stitch. So you take a passion project, run it for 4 weeks. We ran it for 4 to 6 weeks, depending on the grade level. For grade one, we ran it for only 4 weeks. For higher grades, we ran it at 5 weeks and 6 weeks, depending on how. And that's how we did it. And you give them that time to do it. And have mini lessons, 5-minute mini lessons before the start of that 45 minutes of your class. So I'm going to explain you how to, whatever you want to do. How to create a question. You do that mini lesson, pause. All right, now it's your turn to work on what you need to do to get your work done. And you all have a system. And it could be as simple as a Lego game for grade one. Somebody came up with, he wanted to create a dinosaur park. Oh my God. So we did all of those things, but they were so invested in the parents came to see, some parents came to see, some didn't come. At the end, they took their projects home. We are done. We recorded all of that and we were done and uploaded on Seesaw, whatever you have. So you share their interests, why they did that, why they did what they did, and how did they feel after it was done.
Yeah, reflection. quite interesting. Even grade one, feel invested and contributed. I would say like, yeah, thank Jency. They feel contributed that whatever they're learning, it makes a purpose. I think the idea is anchoring it to purpose and making it more realistic in nature so that they feel that it makes sense around them. Otherwise, it is in the classroom between the walls, and when they go out, they do not make connections. Then I believe uh, the learning doesn't makes that sense.
And
The
that
thinking
girl,
doesn't
that
connect.
child I talked about cross stitch, she learned it on YouTube. We gave her YouTube videos to watch. I didn't have time to teach her cross stitch.
Okay, yeah, we have a lot of possibilities there that we have to make sure that it works. All right, so till the time, everybody, I will be sharing the link, in the chat box for you to.
There's a question as a librarian, what do you advise?
Yes. Okay, I want to share. I hope everybody is able to share it in. Uh, okay, here you go in the form.
Okay.
As well as so that you can fill this form. With that, you should be able to uh, fill the form. And for the attendance purposes, we have almost around like 74, 75 participants with us today. And is there still a question? Let me check again. There's one more question. As a librarian, how do you advise me to be an active part of the learning cycle?
Like I said, let's not be too involved in the learning cycle. Honestly speaking, it's not practical because we are not with the child the whole day and the classroom teacher is. But yes, you can collaborate on parts of the cycle depending on the grade level of the child. So again, you need to be in the meeting, the first meeting. So when you every unit is about for 6 weeks, approximately 5 to 6 weeks. So week one, where all the decisions are kind of made between week one and week two. So before the week one starts, the librarian needs to meet with the coordinator to find out what the week one is going to look like, what unit of inquiry are they looking at, look at the previous documents and see and prepare yourself as a librarian before you enter the meeting. So you have some background knowledge of what the discussion of the first week meeting is. Once the first week meeting happens, you have more ideas to share and how you can contribute to the unit of inquiry. It could be in terms of building skill set, it could be in terms of building content, but I think the content is very pretty much delivered in the classroom. So librarian's role is more, I think these days as we move forward, building skill sets of the children for deeper understanding and deeper thinking, like I talked about. So the kind of lessons we have as librarians, we need to become more, have more depth rather than very simplistic, like, so what happened next? What's the prediction? What can you infer? I think we can do a little bit more than that.
Very true.
And then you can collaborate with the technology. Like I said, technology and librarian needs to work together to take it forward.
Yeah, I
Yes,
think this was
for collaboration, yes, my dear friend, it has to come from the top. I would love to say yes, but it will not work. You can push yourself and say, I want to be a part of the collaboration team. If you have no class, if you have a class, you are tied down, you have to attend to the class because the teachers need to collaborate. You can meet them in the doorway and at lunchtime and do some collaboration, but that's not true collaboration. It will require more effort on your part to read back on what is happening. So if there are any coordinators here, I highly
I
request you. I don't know anybody. So if you are not a coordinator, well, you can use this as an excuse and says, I went to this workshop today and this is what I learned. We need to collaborate more and we need to first have one library and technology session together. Let that marriage happen first. And then we can have flexible schedules because that's moving upwards. Finally, you need to have flexible schedules. So from fixed schedules, it needs to go to library and tech together. Then the third
flexible
step is flexible
schedules.
schedules.
Yeah, this makes so much of sense. How technology as a tool. When we say within IB, technology is not it's a tool. I guess this is how we need to move towards as a tool,
Yes.
and then broaden it up from there and
So
broaden
the
the horizon.
librarian and the technology are not specialists. They are actually resource persons.
Hmm.
So why are they given a class separately is my question. When it should be embedded in the structure of bookable resource.
Right. Good point to think about and have a go back, in a systemic thinking in that way. All right, that's wonderful. Participants, I hope
Do I need
every
to fill up this form as well, Tanu? No. All
no,
right.
no,
Thank
no.
you.
It's basically for participants for certificates. Like if they fill the form and they for the certificate purposes is the
Yes,
idea.
absolutely. Yes, yes.
Yes, certificate purposes. And thank you so much. I think we are well before the time, but I'm like happy. There's so much so many aha moments, so many things which you spoke with experience and very practical. You're not just saying, and you're being very practical that it has to come from a top-down approach. It has to be worked in this particular way. And then how the shifting, you're happening from those traditional approach to the new approach. A lot of things to talk about, a lot of things to think about. I think teachers have got a lot of food for thought to go back, think back, and take it back to the classroom. And I'm so very. It was a pleasure having you with us today, and so much more
Thank
to
you
learning
so
because
much, Tanu.
in our school also many a times people feel what to do. As a librarian, what I can have is I think you were this wonderful resource. I've gotten and would like to connect with you post this conference and let's see what we can do for librarians.
Yes, absolutely. I'm
Yeah.
so grateful for this opportunity to share my voice. Truly, my voice. This is all I really believe in. So, thank you so much. Thank you very much,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you, everybody. We all of participants, we meet at 11:45 for the next panel discussion, and then we have a lunch break at 1 and 1:30. You can come back for my session. I'm doing the session at 1:30, then followed by Maithi's session at 2:45. So it's like a nice learning immersive Saturday we have for you.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much, Hiro. It was wonderful and giving us the
Thank
opportunity
you.
on a Saturday and have a lovely weekend.
Thank you. Thank you, Tanu. Thank you, Maitli. Thank you, Mr. Rizwan and Christy and all of those, Jensi and Hagur and everyone. And please reach out if you have any questions. I'm on LinkedIn and I'm on Google Me. I have my website. I have a blog. So I'm active everywhere.